Okay, so now that step 6 is done, this is what it's going to look like at the top. So I'm going to turn the whole thing over so that I'm looking at the back or the inside. And I'm going to take this band that's on the front and I'm going to turn it up. Okay, so now that becomes the top of our pillowcase. That's the edge, the top edge. And I want this part, the seam is with the zigzag on it. I'm going to fold that down towards the bottom. So this part up, this part down. And I'm going to press it all the way across. Move it over to the other half. Then I'm going to turn it over so I'm looking at the front, and I want to make sure that there's no fold or overlap right here. I want it completely flat. And I take my iron, way to get that perfectly flat is slide it down from the top and make sure that there's no folds or anything. Slide it over to the other half. Okay, so now if you look up here at the top, I have done what's called a decorative stitch up here. That's optional. If you want to do it, you can. You can put it anywhere on the band. If you want it down the center, if you want it closer to the bottom, wherever you want to put it, if you want to. It's optional. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, so if you want to do the optional decorative stitches, you want to come and get one of these cards from me. It shows you the different stitches that you can do. So if I want to do, and they all have numbers. So if I want to do number 21, what I would do on my machine to set it up is I'm going to push the number symbol, number 21, and then just make sure that it says 21 in your display screen. So now I'm going to take my band and I'm going to line it up. So I'm just going to do mine down the center. So I'm going to line it up on the 1-inch line over here. And I'm going to go ahead and start. And you don't want to go too fast. If you go too fast, it will mess up the design and it won't look how you want it to. So you have to go fairly slow just so that the machine doesn't skip stitches. So you just keep going all the way down. I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, so this one that I did on here was, let's see, number 30. So if you want to do that, you can do any of those that you want. Like I said, it's optional. That's what it looks like. Okay, so now I'm on to step 8. So I'm going to fold my pillowcase in half so that I have right sides together. And you want to make sure that the top edge, this is the top edge of your pillowcase, I want to make sure it's even up here at the top. And this is when you need to get checked off. So make sure I check it off before you sew it. Okay, this is just the pinning is step 8. Down at the bottom, if it is not even down here, just bring it to me and I will trim it for you. It's pretty typical for a lot of new sewers to not sew everything the right width, so it ends up not matching up down at the bottom. That's okay, that it happens all the time. All right, so then we're going to make a mark on 5/8. So looking at this seam gauge, it's just a little mini metal ruler. 1 inch is right there, so there's a 1/2 inch. It's the next line up between a 1/2 inch and 1 inch. That's 5/8. So what I want to do is I want to put that down at the bottom of my pillowcase and take a piece of tailor's chalk. This is in a cup on the front table, and I'm just going to mark a line on 5/8, and I'm going to show you in just a minute why I did that. I'm going to go ahead and pin this together. So I want to make sure that my top edges up here are even. So get those even and then put a pin right up there close to the top. And then I'm going to pin down. Now these are supposed to match right here. If they don't, it's okay. It's just because you didn't sew it the same all the way across. So we're going to put in a pin. And then I'm going to continue pinning down the side. Okay, so there's my pin. Put another pin in right here in the center. I'm going to put a pin down here towards the bottom. And then I'm going to put a couple in across the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to sew this. All right, so I'm starting at the very top, and I'm going to put the edge of my fabric along 5/8. I'm going to start right there, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to back stitch. Okay, I'm going to go forward. Right before I get to that pin, I'm going to take it out. Keep sewing down. Okay, and I'm going to keep sewing down to the bottom. I'll show you when I get to the corner. Okay, so now I'm coming up on the corner, and this is where I'm going to pivot. So I want to put my needle down. Put my needle down. It's that button right there. So put my needle down, and I'm going to do a pivot. So I'm going to sew. This is why I did that 5/8 inch mark, so I know where to turn. So I'm going to go to the line. I'm going to stop. Lift up my presser foot, turn my fabric, put my presser foot back down, and now I'm going to sew it all the way across the bottom to the other side. And I want to go all the way to my first seam that I did. Right there. I'm going to go all the way down. When I get there, I'm going to back stitch. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and do the zigzag, just like we did on these 2 other seams. So I'm going to line it up with the outside edge of the presser foot, change it to stitch 2, move my needle all the way over to the right, and I'm going to do the zigzag. Okay, you just keep going all the way down the side and across the bottom. Okay, so now that I have step 9 all done, I did my 5/8 straight stitch, did my zigzag all the way across the bottom. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this right side out, and you'll get to see what your pillowcase looks like. So we're just going to turn it right side out, poke those corners out the best you can with your finger, and then we're going to use a tool to get those corners out. Okay, so here's one of my corners. This is called a point turner, and it's not sharp on the end, but it's got a good point on it. So we're going to put that inside of our pillowcase, and then if you gently slide it, don't poke it, gently slide it. If you poke it, you'll end up poking a hole in your pillowcase. So I'll come over to the other side, gently slide it in there. Okay. All right, so now I have my pillowcase all done, but it doesn't look very good. It's kind of not flat and nice looking. So what we want to do is we want to put your finger inside and roll your pillowcase on your finger, and then come down and try to get that seam all the way on the edge. It works pretty good if you wet your fingers a little bit and roll it, and then lay it down and iron it. And then we're going to move to the next section. Roll it a little bit with between your fingers so that seam is right on the edge, and iron it. Okay, and then we're going to go across the bottom. So we roll that in between our fingers, iron it. And then when we get to the end, iron that, and now your pillowcase is all done. So then we'll go on to the inside. Oh, go ahead and iron just the whole thing, just so it looks nice. And then the next part is making the actual pillow for the inside. So you're all done with your pillowcase.